104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Joining us right now, Jim McBride from the Boston Globe. Jim, the world is waiting to see if Brady can comfortably clap. Is he going to be okay for the AFC Championship game?
Yeah, I think he'll be out there. I think the injury is a little more significant than people thought early on when it happened Wednesday. The fact that he didn't practice yesterday rather than limited, I think tells you a lot, because this guy's a guy that hates to even miss practice. So when he popped up on the injury report as a DNP rather than limited yesterday, it kind of took a lot of us by surprise, and that's kind of realized that maybe this thing is a little more serious than we thought. My guess is that the swelling was probably pretty high yesterday and made it uncomfortable to grip the ball, and they just want another 24 hours or so to calm it down a little bit.
Do we know the exact details of what actually happened? I know we're hearing collision, but what was the play that caused the injury?
Yeah, my source tells me it was during a handoff Wednesday, and it was a snowy, cold day. They were on the regular stadium field, which is turf, so that could have been slippery. I don't know whether it was a running back that hit him during the handoff or an offensive lineman got knocked back into him. I guess there's a ton of possibilities. Whacked off someone's helmet. Who knows? It's kind of crazy, but we're interested to see what his hand looks like today.
Jim McBride of the Boston Globe. The audio is all over the place. Belichick answering the question of, is he going to be okay? It's Friday. Does that ever wear on you that, at least you know what you're going to get, but does it ever wear on you, the Belichick routine?
No, I guess not, because it's just, every once in a while you think maybe today he's going to come out and, give you a little more than you expected. But, when going in that you're not going to get much, your expectations are tempered that way. So not really surprised that he wouldn't give away, wouldn't give away the store this morning at all.
What's the mood right now in Boston? Are Patriot fans concerned that the Jaguars can pull off this upset, or are they confident that this is their next path to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, this being Boston, it's always, people are always panicking about something. It's like, when the Red Sox play the Yankees and they're up 10-0, it's never enough. So they're always panicking about something. But I think the mood inside the locker room is probably a better gauge. And these guys, they're not panicked at all about Tom. We talked to Dion Lewis, said yesterday that, it's Tom, he'll be there. And I think that's kind of the mindset of these guys. So while the fans are probably, panicking and ready to jump off the Tobin, these players aren't, and that's probably a better gauge.
Jim McBride of the Boston Globe with us right now, 104.5 The Team. Jim, I'm like the head of Patriot Nation. Like, they've just been too good for too long. It's 16 years ago today was the Tuck Rule game. I was praying for these rifts, these cracks in the foundation to be real. Is there anything you can give me to feed my insecurities and let me believe that Belichick, Brady, and Kraft are fighting?
Geez, I feel bad, but I can't be your therapist.
Oh,
no! It's funny. They talk about the cracks in the foundation and the rifts between these guys, but at the end of the day, they went 13-3, and they're playing in their 7th straight AFC Championship game. So, if there's trouble in paradise, I haven't seen it. We see Bill and Tom interacting in the small windows we get at practice. We don't see Bob Kraft very often, but I think my take is, and I'm down here every day, is that it's like any adult working relationship. You don't always see eye to eye with your coworkers, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean you can't get your job done. And I think that because it's the Patriots, it kind of gets blown out of proportion a little bit. But I would suspect when training camp starts in August, all the main players will be right back in place. Kraft owning the team, Bill running it, and Tom running the offense.
All right, let me try to paint a doomsday scenario and see if this is what could do it, though. Imagine a scenario where Brady has to come out, and instead of going to not even Jacoby Brissett or Jimmy Garoppolo, Brian Hoyer goes out there, and it doesn't work out. Could then I believe in this? Could that be the final thing?
Maybe, but I think he's probably built up enough goodwill over the last 18 seasons that he's going to be back in place when he can. Maybe it gets affected if Tom needs a little treatment on the sideline and his personal trainer isn't there. Maybe that's your tipping point.
Is there any connection here with Tom Coughlin and the Jaguars? We're trying to figure out here in New York if Coughlin's role overall on this Sunday is going to be big enough, but Belichick has lost to Coughlin twice in the Super Bowl. What, if any, impact could you see Coughlin having in this matchup on Sunday?
Well, I think the major thing is that he's kind of instilled a winning attitude in that program. I mean, it didn't take long for them to overhaul that roster. And I think he probably has Coach Marone's ear about certain things, about what to do, how to get pressure on Brady without bringing extra blitzers. But, both Coach Belichick and Coach Marone, we talked to them this week that, they made it a point to say, look, Coughlin's, he's up in the luxury box during the game. So whether he's going to have a real impact on the game, I'm not so sure. I'm sure his imprint is on that franchise, but maybe not on this game plan so much.
Jim McBride of the Boston Globe, nice enough to put up with my nonsense on this Football Friday. Jim, real quick, it seems like every assistant coach is connected to some team somewhere. Is this going to be an all Belichick coaching staff next year? Are the kids going to move up?
That's a possible scenario. But I do think that the promotions will come from within for the most part. The big wild card is if Brian Flores is still really in place for the Cardinals job. I know guys are dropping out of contention for that job, and what I thought was maybe an initial interview and try to get his feet wet for jobs down the line is starting to look more and more like he might be a serious player there. So if they lose McDaniels, Patricia, and Flores, that's quite a blow to a coaching staff, because I think Flores would be the natural guy to take over for Patricia. So now you'd have to start to look outside the organization because they're losing so many guys. But I would think that an offensive coordinator could be Jerry Shaplinsky, the guy that's the assistant quarterbacks coach now. And if they lose Flores and Patricia, maybe a guy like Greg Schiano from Rutgers, now at Ohio State, who has a tight relationship with Belichick, maybe you see him bring it in to run the defense.
That's a really interesting scenario. I'd actually like to see that. I'd be forced to respect and hate the Patriots even more. Jim, before I let you go, do you see the Patriots in Minnesota?
I do. I think they still win this game. I think Tom plays. I think that Coach Belichick has talked a lot this week about how it's not about experience, it's about execution. But I think it really, experience does play a lot in these big moments and these big games. These guys that have been there before, they don't panic. The moment never gets too large for them. So, while I think Jacksonville's a stout opponent and really on the right track, I think the Patriots wind up back in the Super Bowl.
Jim McBride of the Boston Globe, man. Again, just you and that evil empire. I got nothing but respect for everything you guys got coming out of there. But man, it's just I get sick of watching you guys win.
I'm sorry about that, buddy.
Hey, if you end up in Minnesota, let us know. We'll be out there as well. We'll see if your Patriot squad is out there.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.